Hi, for our scripture and scrapping for October, we're going to do a layout using the verse James 3:12. And a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. I really liked this verse with the kind of the harvest and the pumpkin idea, and we just had a virtual crop that had a real nice sketch which had some circles that I thought would work well with pumpkins. So I'm going to just put it together quickly. I've kind of cut out all the pieces ahead of time, but I'll kind of assemble it and explain what I did. So you'll start with a 12 by 12 sheet of paper for your base. You're going to cut one piece of 7.5 by 12 inch piece paper, and that's going to go. I've turned the sketch sideways. Now the original sketch, it went on the side like this, and if that you wanted to do that, you could do that, but I wanted to have kind of like a field of pumpkins. So I made sure I cut my paper where I was cutting for the pumpkins to go horizontally. So you can see you have nice big space there. It also has a 5.5 by 10 inch piece of paper that's going to hold some photos, and a 3.5 by 5.5 mat to hold another photo. And then we're going to make a pumpkin to put up right up here. I'm going to kind of tack these down with some repositionable tape. I made you adjust them just a little bit as we get our pictures, our things in. Kind of want it to go more towards the top because we have a border to go at the bottom. I'll probably do that before we make our pumpkin. So we're going to kind of do our frame or mats like this, and that leaves space right here for our big pumpkin, which is about a 6-inch size circle. But we're also going to add a border across the bottom, and because it's pumpkins, I wanted to use something that we have. We have a really nice pumpkin frame punch, and I punched it out in orange, and then I put and I cut it off at 1.5 inch, and then I cut a 1.5 inch piece of the teal to go behind it, and I've fussy cut most of it, you can see, and I've added some foam tape. But I was going to just show you, this is something Noreen said, you know, you can kind of fussy cut right under the edge of whatever you're cutting around if you want to just have like something underneath. And I probably should have my micro tip scissors instead of these, but these will work okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just kind of want to get the big pieces of paper out from the edges of this board. So you can see I haven't got all the pieces. It's not exact, but you can have that nice orange with the teal showing through. You could go back and punch that in another color and fill in some of these pieces if you wanted to, or you could just lay it directly on your piece of paper if you use this punch. But I didn't want that pattern to show through. I wanted something a little more solid. And I like the foam tape because I can use lots of it. I'm going to stick that down right like that. And then our verse, our circle with a verse here. This is a 3-inch circle. This piece here is more of like a 2.5 inch, and I'm going to stick this down. Also, like I said, I'm going to put it down with repositionable tape right now because when I add my photos, I may have to adjust it just a little bit. And then I have a 2-inch circle, and I just added a little sticker that says pumpkin pie time because this is going to be kind of Thanksgiving harvest thing, but all the pumpkins tying in. So I'm going to just kind of lay that over here, a little bit higher. And if you look at the sketch, you'll see a circle here, a circle here. You could also do a pumpkin here and a pumpkin here, but I had all these pumpkins here, and I had a lot of pumpkin stickers. And we're going to make a big pumpkin up here. And so you could do that again smaller if you want to just kind of add that. So let me move this out of the way for a minute while we make our pumpkin. Like I said, we want to make it about a 6-inch circle. I cut out a 6-inch circle. I'm not going to use this paper. This is from the last secret box. And the colors are not bad with this, but the pattern is just too wild. Oh, and I forgot another piece of the border that I will add on afterwards, but that's okay. But I used the biggest of these circles, and I used the red blade outside to cut this circle. And this is just going to be kind of a guide to make my pumpkin, because we want it to fit right in here. Kind of like that. And I'll probably scoot these down just a little bit. But so what I did is I used our oval patterns, which we don't use that often. And this is the second from the smallest. We have a larger one, next one, this one, and then one that's a little bit smaller than this. And this one says 4x6 on it, I believe. No, this is not the 4x6. This is the 3.5 by 5, because I didn't want it to quite be 6, because I wanted to have some room. And I'll show you why. So I cut out a color with this pattern and the green blade. And then I cut out a backing color. You'll notice it's the same color as our mats, just to kind of give some contrast when we start layering this up. So this is the green blade on the outside, and then the brown wood pattern, the mat, is the blue blade on the outside. And I stuck it down right here, and I did 4 of the darker color. Now you don't have to do that. You can just go with the different colors in the middle. That's fine too, but I wanted to kind of have some separation. And then I did some other colors to go with it. I did like a little white with orange polka dots and a white with green leaves. So I can do this. And I stuck it on here like this. We're going to have one that we keep whole, but then the others we're going to fold in half and then just cut. And you can do it with your trimmer or with your scissors. Since my scissors are right here, I'll do that. And it doesn't matter if you're not quite straight, because you're going to hide the edges of this under this piece here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this down, and I am using regular tape just so it'll hold a little bit better. And I'm going to kind of put that right at the bottom of that 6-inch circle. And then I'm going to add repositionable tape to the top sides of these other half ovals. And I'm going to stick these in where you're just barely getting the edge of this underneath the other one. And matching it up on each side. And I'm not really sticking it to the circle. I'm more sticking this ovals together. But this is just to kind of keep our size in mind. And then I'm going to go back with some more of the darker orange and tuck that underneath. Everybody's pumpkin is going to be a little bit different, a little bit different shape, a little bit different size, and that's okay. You can do all the same color if you want, or you can do different colors like I've done. And I did 4. You could do just 3 ovals if you wanted to. That would be enough, but I really wanted to have a nice full pumpkin with lots of colors underneath there. You can see I didn't stick that one down real well. If Nancy Mason is watching, she would say, I don't add enough tape runner, and she is right. Okay, but you can see that gives us the pumpkin shape. And then you need to have something to cover up this little area here, which is good because we need to have like a little stem. This is not quite the right size. So I cut an oval, and what I'm gonna just do is stick it in there and then just trim off what I don't need. And start like that. Gonna give me a little semicircle oval there. Don't want too much, so. And you could probably go with a little smaller oval if you have your pumpkin a little closer together. But then I'm just gonna trim that off. Again, not perfect, but it's okay. And then I'll have just a little extra stem to stick up like that. The stem is the part that I'm not as crazy about, my design, but I couldn't figure out that part exactly. And then it never hurts to add a pretty leaf. So I found this leaf in our embellishments. This was a Golden Harvest from last year. These papers are also from Golden Harvest. For the one I do when we're all together, I'll probably do the newest Autumn Cottage. But you can see there's our pumpkin. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over. Carefully take that guy off because I don't really want that in my design. And then kind of tape everything down so it'll stick to each other. And then I'll bring our page back and I'm going to add it right there. And you can see my stem is going to stick right off the top. So I'm going to have to make that a little bit smaller. And I'm also going to move these guys down a little bit, so that they're kind of in the pumpkins. And that's one of the wonderful things about repositionable tape, is being able to adjust it just a little bit. And this is the part I forgot. I was going to add a vine across the bottom to tie all that pretty teal color in. This is the Leafy Vine Border Punch, but there's a lot of different vines you could use. And I'll probably trim off the bottom of this because I don't necessarily want it to hang over the edge. But I'll do that afterwards and I'll post a picture. But whenever I do this on Tuesday with friends, I'm going to use one of the laser borders, which already has pumpkins. And I think that's really cute. That's from the Autumn Cottage. Okay, so now let me take my little stem off here. Maybe see how much stem I have room for. There we go. Hardly any stem that is needed. That's good. So I'm going to cut most of this off. Just give myself a little bitty stem. Stick right there. And I think that's going to do it for this layout. Like I said, I'll trim this off a little bit. It does have room. Now you could put journaling and this. You also have room for, if you use the red blade, you could put a photo there. And there's room for 3 photos here and 1 photo here. And those are 3.5 by 5.5. I didn't put these on because I'll probably just put the pictures instead of the mats, but just so you can kind of see what that looks like. I'll stick that down. I think I got this one away. These are a little smaller than 3.5 by 5.5. These are, and the measurements on the sketch, I think they say 3 by 5s. I wanted to go a little bit bigger with the actual photos. Some of these are smaller and some of them are not. I will add these on when I take a picture so you can see what it would look like with photo mats on there. But that's a kind of an idea. So you won't see a lot of the mats, and all this will be tucked under the pumpkin there as well. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope that you enjoy putting this together and that this is a verse that makes you want to sow in peace. And what a blessing that is. Thank you. Good night.